Привет! Сегодня, today, we'll learn how to count from 0 to a billion in Russian. The verb to count itself sounds in Russian as считать. What can you say about this verb? This is something I've been calling your attention to. In the infinitive form, it ends with at. What does it mean? Right, it means that it has the same conjugation pattern as the verb слушать. Take a second and try to conjugate it on your own, and then check yourself in the end of the video. You got this. Apart from its direct meaning, to count, считать also means to have an opinion on something. You can say, я считаю, что, I think that, or как ты считаешь? What do you think? Как вы считаете? Counting as an action sounds as счёт. Apart from that, this word also has several other meanings. For example, that's the way you call a check at a restaurant. Счёт. Imagine you have to say, check please. How would you say it in Russian? Счёт, пожалуйста. Счёт also means a score in a game, or a bill or an invoice that you have to pay. And счёт в банке, for example, stands for a bank account. Ну что, готовы? Давайте начнем считать. 0 in Russian sounds as ноль, or sometimes also as нуль, though the first one is more commonly used. Ноль. Один. Два. Три. Четыре. Пять. Шесть. Семь. Восемь. Девять. 10. Одиннадцать, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Students very often confuse the numbers 12 and 20 in Russian. Двенадцать, 20. Both of them end with цать. And by the way, this is an old word for 10. But look, двенадцать, 12, has an extra syllable, на. All the teens in Russian, the numbers from 11 to 19, follow the same pattern. A number, then на, that means on, and then цать. So you're basically saying 1 on 10, 2 on 10, 3 on 10, and so on. The only thing, take into account that in most situations the stress goes on на, but the numbers 11 and 14 are an exception. Compare, please. Один, 11. 4, 14. Saying 11 is a very common mistake. And by the way, this is how 11 sounds in Belarusian, but in Russian it is 11, 14. And one more thing to pay attention to. Why do we say 5 but 15? 8 but 18, 9 and 19. The answer is in the 3 basic rules for reading in Russian. We've covered them in the very beginning. When O is stressed, like in 8, you read it as O, and when it's not, you will read it as A, like in 18. When Ye or Ya are stressed, you read them as they are, Ye, Ya. And when they're not, you'll mostly read them as I. That's why you say 5, but 15, 9 and 19, and so on. Please keep that in mind. And if you need to review these basic reading rules, click on this I button in the top right corner and you'll find the video I'm referring to. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And now the question that you might be asking in your head right now. Why 40? Why not 40, for instance? Actually, it used to sound something like that before, but it just must have been too long, so people switched to Сорок instead. Some researchers think that the word Сорок comes from one of the Turkic languages, and others say it is related to how a bundle of 40 sable pelts used to be called when sold on the market. This is a sable or a marten. Anyway, today you say Сорок, and that's how it is. To say 22, 45 and such, you'll use the same idea as in English. 22, 45, 87, 39, 54, 91. And now, here we go, hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. These will sound as 101, 255, 739, 810, 314, 948, 905. The thousands need some explanation. 1000 itself sounds as 1000. Then if a number ends with a 1, like 21,000, you'll say 21 тысяча. 81 тысяча. If a number ends with 2, 3, or 4, like these, you'll say 2000, 3000, 103 тысячи, 74 тысячи, 94 тысячи. For the numbers that end with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 0, you'll be using the word тысяч. 200 тысяч, 165 тысяч, 637 тысяч. 999 тысяч. And for all the teens, like 18,000, 15,000, you'll be using the word тысяч as well. 11 тысяч. 14 тысяч. 18 тысяч. You will read these as 1807. 2020. 4048. 27983. 100569. A million sounds in Russian as миллион. A billion is миллиард. Once again, миллион. Миллиард. There we go. Now you need just a little bit of time to practice. Try to read these.
$769, 800 and 700. Listen properly. 769,820.
When you have to count fast in Russian, you'd often say раз instead of один, just because it is quicker. Раз means one time. Remember the phrase еще раз, one more time? There's actually a counting rhyme in Russian that every kid knows today, or считалочка, as you call it in Russian. It was written in the 19th century by Фёдор Миллер. A cool fact is that he was actually born to a German family in Moscow. And at the age of 33, he wrote this tiny children's verse in Russian. And later it became a part of Russian folklore. It's called Out Went the Hare for a Walk. Here it is. Раз, два, три, четыре, пять. Вышел зайчик погулять. Вдруг охотник выбегает. Прямо в зайчика стреляет. Пиф-паф, ой-ой-ой, умирает зайчик мой. That's the verse every Russian-speaking kid knows, as a common counted-out rhyme for games. And over time, people have come up with 2 more lines to make it kind of more positive. Принесли его домой, оказался он живой. Let's wrap it up here. I hope this video helps you learn Russian numbers and how to count in Russian. Next time we'll be talking about age. Скоро увидимся. Пока!